It's another massive day for news. Learn the latest reports currently surrounding our move for Raphinha, as are we starting to see signs of a Barcelona plot twist. Moving on, learn the latest on Lukaku, who is set to sign for Inter Milan today, and shock news surrounding MILINKOVIC-SAVIC, as more credible reports are suggesting that we are having talks with Lazio. So, ton of things to break down today. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Quick shout out to everyone that liked my video yesterday talking about Raphinha. Getting over 5k likes meant a lot. So for today's video, I want to be ambitious again and go for over 3k likes. So without wasting any more time, let's start things off and let's talk Raphinha news, as we have more updates surrounding this imminent and potential signing. Now, in terms of a wage packet and contract that has been offered, the player has been presented an offer that will take his deal to 2027. In terms of the wages offered, we have tripled his current wages he's currently earning at Leeds. He's on around 40k a week, and we're presenting offers between 115k to 125k. Currently, we are still actively negotiating with Deco, who is the agent of Raphinha, of course, former Chelsea player, Portugal international, and Barcelona player too. And at this point in time, we are just waiting for the approval to come from Raphinha to co-sign the move. Now, we learned some conversational points that Deco brought up in negotiations. One of those points was he wants to find out who the departures are going to be for this summer. Realistically, it does seem like that is going to be Hakim Ziyech, who's very close now to signing for AC Milan. But it's only natural that an agent is going to look after his clients, especially considering we have a history of spending big money on players, and the price tag and the fees aren't necessarily guaranteeing them that game time. So I do understand it. With this move, Todd Boehly is wasting no time. He literally presented the contract offer right after Leeds accepted our bids, and the bid accepted by Leeds, of course, is 55 million plus add-ons on top, which would take the potential deal to around 65 million pounds. Now, things took a very interesting plot twist, as literally there's photo evidence of Deco being followed alongside Barcelona directors, which literally happened this afternoon. Now, we know that Deco and Raphinha are currently in Ibiza, so it makes a lot of sense that he would be close to Barcelona. There's some context though on top. Of course, today is CEO Laporta's birthday. He has a good friendship alongside Deco, so it makes sense that he would be in Barcelona, of course, to attend his birthday. But at the same time, we know that Raphinha's first choice ideally is Barcelona. He's agreed terms months back. And for me, I kind of see it like this as well too. But he's shown so much signs of patience. Why would he then give things up right when you're near the final hurdle to really find out, okay, what is really happening at Barcelona? With Ousmane Dembele, we won't get full concrete answers until literally the next 2 days. So until his future is ultimately decided and clarified, a part of me feels like it only makes sense that you're still going to open a small dialogue, even though reality states that Barcelona just can't afford the player compared to us. I mean, they can't afford the transfer fee. Their offer was rejected, and their offer was less even compared to the offer that Arsenal placed for the player too. And in terms of a wage packet, I mean, they can't compete alongside us. But with Barcelona, you just never really know what they can do. Of course, they have the power of the club, and a lot of Latin players have a big inspiration, of course, represent certain clubs like Madrid and Barcelona. So until we get final clarification that Raphinha says yes for us entirely and is down to sign for us, I think we have to wait out just maybe like another few days. You'd imagine that if Barcelona lost Dembele, they'd make sure they'd wait for Raphinha, but who knows what's going to happen. Of course, as the days go on, we'll get even more clarification and reports coming out. However, we've made our position very clear. Maybe this comes down to the fact too that we are trying to maybe, force the agenda right now. Arsenal and other clubs entertaining talks. We can't afford to miss out on a player like this. We can't afford to miss out on, agreeing terms financially and in terms of a fee with Leeds, while just still having hopes of Dembele, where there could be a situation where Dembele decides to stay at Barcelona, we miss out on Raphinha, and then Tuchel loses his first option and his second option on the right-hand side. So let's continue to see how things play out, but there's still a lot more to come from this deal. Now we move on and let's talk Romelu Lukaku. A very quick update at this point in time. We know that Lukaku has landed in Milan, of course, to finalise his long return back to Inter Milan. He was spotted at the airport last night. He was met by a ton of Inter Milan fans who seemed very happy to see him. And this kind of seems to be the theme of the day, because literally Lukaku has Inter fans left, right and centre cheering his name and calling for him. And it kind of just comes at the contradiction maybe of the like the die-hard ultras of Inter called Curva Nord. In a statement like a while back, they said, "Despite the fact we protected you like a son, like one of us, you two prove yourself to be just like all the rest, going to your knees for money." I'm not gonna lie, I do love the Italian language. Like, there's a real there's a real drama behind how they talk that I'm just absolutely here for. But for me, all this translates to is the fact that they're not gonna just literally get gas straight away. He's gonna have to work to get their affection back, and the best way to get the affection of football fans is to bang in the goals. They're very simple people. And I think if I was an Inter fan, I'd feel extremely confident by this. I think Lukaku will literally come back in, banging the goals for Inter. Inzaghi just even working with Lukaku for a few days in last year's pre-season before he moved to sign for us was an absolute adoration for the player. And they'd seen him as one of the best players he ever worked with in that short amount of time. So now that he's playing alongside Martinez again and back in an environment that gets the best out of his football, it only makes sense. And for us, we have to understand that Lukaku isn't there on a 2-year loan. It's a 1-year loan deal with another option, of course, to extend by another year. We want this guy to be successful, to make sure that not only do Inter Milan continue to fund his wages, but then also commit to the loan fees and also commit to signing him at the end of his loan spell too. Lukaku's already completed his medical today already. He's arrived at Inter headquarters now to get this deal finalized, which is literally gonna get announced probably in the next hour or so. And it's nice to know that this deal is finally over and finally completed. I'm gonna say good luck to Lukaku because me personally, I'm not gonna hold the past against him, especially when for me, of course it was annoying, but it's not the worst thing that I've seen personally as a football fan. So moving on now to the final big report that dropped today, and let's talk MILINKOVIC-SAVIC news. Now, I'm a bit surprised that this story is still resurfacing, but I guess after consuming the articles, it does make sense why we are seeing more reports like this. Essentially, it works like this. Reports from Italy are suggesting we are opening talks with a player, and when I say opening talks, this doesn't necessarily only mean that it's, okay, how much money do you want, blah, blah, blah. It makes sense that you need to survey the player first. You need to work out on possibilities behind how a deal like this could work, interest. So many discussions need to be had before you even entertain talking directly to the player and entertain going to Lazio to make a bid. But anyway, let me break down the story. We already know that there's a willingness from Lazio's part to potentially try and do business now for Emerson and Loftus-Cheek. Sarri wants to recreate that left-hand side that he had at us when he was our manager, and we know that MILINKOVIC-SAVIC is also open to leaving Lazio for the right move. Now ideally his dream club was Real Madrid, but after years of being priced out by Lazio and the fact that Madrid have moved on to sign Camavinga and Tchouaméni, it feels like that dream is over at this point in time. Now focusing on the big reports that came out today, it seems like Inter Milan's director and former player igli, and depending on some reports, he's either already currently in London right now or is literally bound to arrive in London in the next few days. However, these talks would mark the second time in 2 weeks that Tare is holding discourse with clubs in this country, most notably with us. In the first meeting, of course, he spoke to Arsenal and Newcastle. However, SMS is just literally not interested in signing for either club at this point in time. Now, reports state that Lazio would want around 80 million to release MILINKOVIC-SAVIC, but as I'm really stressing, these talks today aren't to talk about entertaining a bid. It's just about opening these talks and continuing the conversation, because Lazio have hopes to sign Emerson as a key target, and of course Sarri would like to work with Loftus-Cheek again for Lazio for next season. Now reports are saying that a 50 mil offer plus Emerson on top would be an adequate offer to literally start the main conversation and start a dialogue over a potential move. If anything was to happen for MILINKOVIC-SAVIC, it is going to involve Emerson and most likely Loftus-Cheek. But in the case of Ruben, of course, he's very content right now. He feels very excited. He had a promising season last season, working under Tuchel, and has the manager's support as well. And he accepts the role he has in the squad currently. Emerson, of course, is way more open to a move, but still, I'd imagine he's going to get at least a pre-season here with us in case, before we, move him on and find a replacement. So I'm going to give some of my thoughts and opinions behind this. In my opinion, would I make that move for MILINKOVIC-SAVIC? Probably not. I feel like we could use that money and invest it in other key areas in the team. For me, is signing the right profiles, and one of those profiles is a defensive mid. I feel like now that a lot of us are seeing the attacking moves we're making, I think we're all starting to realize that maybe we want to see the attack and the midfield get priority in terms of having the main influence in the team compared to the wing backs and our defense. I feel like I want to say this too. If we do move on to this type of back four setup, three-man midfield, then you look at Mount, Gallagher and Ruben in completely different lights. Ruben has not played box-to-box since the 18-19 season. It's been that long. Under Tuchel last season, he showed his qualities playing wing-back, in defence, in a pivot as well, and in midfield too. So he adapted, and I thought he has displayed the qualities to show me that this is a great top quality squad option to have in your team, especially as he's worked on his defensive side and proved that, and due to the tactical flexibility Ruben now offers you. But for me, is SMS like levels above him? No, I can't be saying that, you guys, and I see it like this, purely like this, yeah. Sarri is a manager that has a love affair for number 8s and box-to-box mids. I mean, look at guys like Zielinski, Ruben in that 18-19 season, and is there any surprise that SMS has statistically had his best ever season working under Sarri as a box-to-box mid? Absolutely not. For me, this is how you unlock players when they have the right conditions around them for their natural games to shine and come through. So it's actually interesting, as you guys can see. Here are some stats from FBRF. It shows that Ruben's are quite decent, considering that, a lot of these stats will be skewed by the fact that most of his appearances were off the bench. But if you break things down into even more detail, here's like a brief overview of his stats during the 18-19 season. I suggest if you guys want to see it for yourselves, and pause the video. But it paints a more accurate picture behind Ruben as an 8 compared to Ruben playing more of like a pivot, ball progressing role. So I do think that if Ruben was to go to Lazio, his form would shoot up straight away. And if there's a possibility that we have 8s for next season, I just think that if you've got Ruben, Gallagher and Mount, these are the guys you continue to use and keep, because I just think that they're quality, and I think that they could show even more if the system around them complements their game and allows them to shine. I just think that right now SMS will just be a luxury signing that's not needed. I mean, the guy doesn't play in a pivot. He's not a defensive midfield player. I just think that it would make no sense, in my opinion, even though he's a good player, a very good player. But it's got to be more than just signing any and every good player. There has to be a strategy behind, how you're looking to move as a squad. But that's only my thoughts and opinions. I'm sure you guys are going to share yours in the comments too. And on that note, I'm Nini FC. This is BlueLionsTV. Expect more videos to drop today. Catch you guys soon. Cool.